What's up, dudes? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Chloe. I am a full-time college student and a part/full-time-ish reseller on eBay, Poshmark, ThredUp, and The RealReal, and Flip. If you're not new here, welcome back to Coverly Chaos, and thank you for coming back. If you like reseller-related content, including hauls, what solds, how-tos, and a new type of video today, my top 5, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you like this type of video, let me know and hit that like button. I would so appreciate it. So today we're taking a break from Chloe's usuals, hauls. And we are gonna do my top 5 garage sale tips. Now, y'all know what season it is. That's right, it's coming up on garage sale season. My favorite season of reselling. Sorry, you had to listen to that. Okay. I am a lot right now. I need to relax. Okay, so if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that I go to garage sales. I love garage sales. I do garage sale hauls. And honestly, I find my best stuff at garage sales. So my top 5 highest price sales from 2020, if you want to watch that video, that's one of my first videos on the channel actually, was like my top 5 to 10 best-selling items from 2020. The top 5 were all from garage sales. And like they were all somewhere between $100 and $300. And they were from garage sales, meaning my cost of goods was like less than $5. So if you're afraid of garage sales, don't be. I understand, you know, that they can be scary. You have to talk to people, you know, it's not like a set price like a thrift store. But I like garage sales way more than I like thrift stores because one, thrift stores are usually enclosed and I just feel very cramped. And I live in LA, so like thrift stores are crowded most of the time. Like unless I go at like the crack of dawn, which like they aren't open then, or like right before they close, like there is everyone and their mother is there. And so trying to like move around with a car is just a lot. Whereas garage sales are open and there is usually not as many people there because it's early morning. So I'm gonna give you my top 5 tips. Now there are more tips, and if you are interested in any more, let me know down below and I can do a more in-depth video on garage sales. I also plan on doing some garage sale with me videos upcoming in the spring and summer months because that's when I garage sale. In LA, we have garage sales year round, but they are a lot heavier and a lot more from like April to October, kind of. So I haven't gone as much in the last 5-6 months. So yeah, so everywhere has garage sales, no matter where you are in the country. Even if you're in like the boonies, there is garage sales, I promise. You just have to do your research. So before I even get to my top 5 tips, go to the App Store, download Garage Sale Map, and download Treasure Hunt. Okay, so Garage Sale Map is an app and it's also a website, and it's the most widely known for where people post garage sales if they're gonna post them online. So that should be your #1 place that you look. It is nationwide, it's everywhere in the country. And the second one is Treasure Hunt or Treasure Map. I can't remember which one it's called, but I think there's both actually. But Treasure Hunt is connected to Craigslist. So if somebody posts a yard sale on Craigslist, then it will automatically post to Treasure Hunt. And you can also post manually onto Treasure Hunt. And so a lot of times I've noticed that they're different. Like the same people don't post on Craigslist that post on Treasure Hunt. And then the third app I would say is if you're not already on Nextdoor, get on Nextdoor. Because a lot of times people will advertise their garage sales before. Okay, so that brings me to my first tip. #1 is be prepared. Now this is probably the lengthiest tip because there's a lot that goes into preparation, so bear with me here. First up, like I said, download those apps, look that up, and know what you're doing. Secondly, what you want to bring with you. I recommend bringing bags. If you know that you bring, you know, reusable bags to thrift stores, if you're that person, do the same for garage sales. I bring like my big blue IKEA bags usually, and I can stuff a lot of stuff in there because you never know what you're gonna find. And if you don't want to, you know, if you're a little insecure about taking your bag out, there's not a lot of people, you feel odd, leave it in the car. And then if you see that you're finding, you know, a ton of clothes, make a little pile of your stuff and then go to your car and get the bag and then just put the stuff in the bag. Sometimes places will have bags provided, but more than likely they're the plastic bags or the trash bags, and they're not super heavy duty or they can't fit as much. So I really recommend bringing your own bags just for your sake and their sake. Sorry, my notifications are going wild right now. I don't know why everybody is trying to connect with me on Friday at 5 p.m., but they are. Next up, along with bringing bags, this is probably a given, but I've noticed that it's not for everyone. Bring cash. So more than just bring cash, bring change. So this happens at least half the time that I'm at garage sales, is the people that are hosting the garage sales are not prepared. They do not know that people are gonna wanna pay in 20s, because when you go to get cash out from the bank, you get 20s. That's how it works. So you wanna be prepared with 5s and 1s if you wanna get out of there quickly. And I like to get out of there quickly. I like to go, 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 and just move on, right? I don't like to lollygag in garage sale days because I'm working. Like, I used to go to garage sales for fun when I've been going to garage sales since like before I could talk and walk, y'all. Like, my mom was a huge garage seller. She still is. Sometimes she goes with me. But I am now, it's a job. I'm working, and I'm not gonna lollygag and waste my time, you know, when I'm working. And so I always make sure to bring at least like 15 ones. If 20, depending on if you can get some. Sometimes like on the way, if I'm gonna get gas or if I'm gonna, you know, I wanna stop for a Coke or something, at the gas station, I'll ask for cash back, and usually they'll give me at least 15 in ones and then a 5. And then get, like, literally just get as many 1s and 5s as you feel comfortable as you can get. Like, the more the better. And then at the garage sale, if you see that the person has a ton of change, save your change and give them the 20, right? Because then you might go to another one where they don't have change. But a lot of places, they do. They have stacks and stacks of change. So you don't have to worry about it at every garage sale. Next up, make sure your phone is charged. So this is kind of a given, but also kind of not. Because I feel like people don't realize, like, you're gonna want your phone for looking stuff up, or for garage sailing, like you need Google Maps or whatever you use, Waze, or, you know, just writing down, like keeping track. I like to keep track of each garage sale that I go to, so I like to be like, okay, I spent $20 here and I got 10 items or whatever, or I spent, you know, 150 at this one and I don't know how many items, but I'll count when I get home, right? And I'll just make little notes to myself. So even if you're not the type of person that likes to look up comps, and honestly, most of the time at garage sales, I won't lie, I don't. Unless it's like a really expensive thing, then I might like go to a corner or go to my car or something and look up a comp. But most of the time I don't, but I do use my phone for Google Maps or Waze, whatever you use. It takes up a lot of battery using GPS constantly. And then I write like constant notes to myself when I'm at garage sales just to remind me, oh, I paid $10 for this. Oh, this definitely needs to be cleaned. Oh, I need to wash this right away. Like just whatever comes to my brain. That way I'm not thinking about it the whole time and I can focus more on shopping. Okay, so make sure your phone is charged, bring water, and bring a snack. And if you're a caffeine addict like me, bring, you know, your coffee or stop for Starbucks on the way, or, you know, bring your Dr. Pepper, whatever you drink, your tea, whatever it is, bring that with you. You're gonna want it, especially this season of garage sailing, because it gets hot pretty early. I know it does out here, you know, not everywhere is like that, but it does out here. By like 8 or 9 a.m., it's like when you're moving around and everything, you know, in and out of the car, in and out, walking around, up and down, getting clothes, all that stuff. It's like tiring and you're gonna get dehydrated. So bring water and your caffeine because you're gonna get tired, but you wanna push through. And then going along with that, wear something comfortable and weather appropriate. So I like to wear layers because out in California, the weather gets weird because it's cold in the morning and at night, and then it can get like blazing hot in the day. Like even if it's gonna be 100 degrees that day, it could be 60 degrees at 5 a.m., right? Like, so I'm gonna be a little cold at first. So I like to wear layers, like a tank top and then a sweater and then maybe my big jacket if it's super cold. It doesn't really get that cold, but I like to bring like a tank, maybe wearing a t-shirt, maybe wearing, you know, a sweater or whatever it is. And then I usually like to wear leggings. There's a downside to wearing leggings is you don't have pockets, but if you wear a crossbody, you're good. So my keys don't fit in my pockets anyway, which girl pockets, y'all know, they're small. So they probably don't fit in yours either. Especially if you have like your wallet and your lanyard like I do with my keys. I know a lot of us do, but wear a crossbody. Just like you're going to the bin. So that way you can just have your stuff there, you can have your phone there, your keys there, and that's it. Like you don't need anything else. Everything else can stay in your car. Okay, moving on. So like I said, tip number 1 was hefty. It was like over 5 minutes long. The rest of them aren't that long, but I am gonna give you examples so that way you know what I'm talking about. All right, step number 2, or tip number 2, plan out your morning and your day, however long you wanna be out. Know what you're doing, have a mission plan, have an action plan, have a schedule, whatever you want. Now, there's a caveat to that. A lot of times there will not be certain sales online and people will do the old-fashioned way and they'll just put up signs. Don't be afraid to betray your plan to stop for signs. So what I mean by that is like, look the night before, look at your apps that I told you to download, Nextdoor, Garage Sale, Map, and Treasure Hunt. Look at those, you know, sometimes those apps will give you details. So like if you're like me and you're mainly looking for clothes, if the details say a bunch of stuff and doesn't say clothes, I'm gonna kind of put that one on the back burner. I'm gonna be like, okay, if there's not a ton of other ones to go to, I'll go to that one, but that's not my first priority. And then sometimes it'll be like, huge women's clothing, new with tags, barely worn. Like they'll give a lot of detail about women's clothing and I'm like, yeah, that's the first one I want to go to. Like, so, you know, so know what you're getting yourself into and plan it out. And then it might help also to write those addresses down, maybe in notes. However, a little hack I like to do, so I use Google Maps, you might use Waze. I think you can do the same thing on Waze, but I will show you here. So I can put in an address here. So I will put in, for instance, so this address was a garage sale from last weekend and I labeled it garage sale 5/1 7 a.m. So I knew what day it was, I knew what time it was. And that way when I go to look at my map, I have these flags. You see these flags? So I can easily go, okay, I'm gonna go here, boom, boom. And then I can just tap on the flag and it'll take me there. Super simple, super easy. So if you use Google Maps or if you don't and you wanna try it, I really recommend doing that, and it saves me from having to input, and I can easily visually see where I wanna go in what order, if that makes sense. And then I didn't used to do this, but I started putting the time on there because garage sales all start at different times. Some start as early as 5 a.m. and some start as late as 9 a.m. So I'm usually an early bird. I like to go early because especially where I'm at, it's competitive. Like the early bird gets the worm, y'all. Like that is the truest saying when it comes to garage sales. But don't be afraid to go even if you're not an early riser. Even if you're like, I want to sleep in on Saturdays. I don't know what sleep in means, but if you wake up at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you can still go. There's been days where I didn't wake up. I woke up at like 9 or 10 and I was like, let's go see if they're still there. And I found great stuff. So you never know what you're gonna find. And you never know who's gonna be there that day. Like some weekends, everybody's garage sailing, and some weekends, nobody's garage sailing, right? It's like dead. All right, moving on to step number 3. Be friendly and be nice. So obviously this is, you know, a life thing, but when you're garage sailing, this is why I say bring your coffee. Be peppy, be energized. People like it when you are nice. So if, you know, I like to think as soon as I step out of the car, I am making my first impression of that seller. And this seller I'm trying to get deals from, right? And so I want to be nice. Think about it when you're on Poshmark. If a buyer, you know, or I guess eBay, because you can send a message. If a buyer is like, oh my gosh, I really love this item. I am so excited for it. I really hope you accept my offer. you're probably more likely to take that offer than someone that either doesn't send a message or someone that sends a negative message or perceived as negative. I've gotten those before. People are like, your price is super expensive. Please consider my offer. And I'm just like, well, that was kind of rude, right? So I am way more attracted to accept offers of people that are kind and that are nice and that, you know, either give me a compliment or whatever. And I'm not saying be fake. Be authentically you. Always, forever, be who you are. I am a charismatic, you know, typically energetic person, if you couldn't tell. You probably could. But so I just make sure I have my coffee that day. I have my best behavior on, you know, like your mom says, be on your best behavior today. Like, do that at garage sales. And as soon as I step out of the car, I greet them. Sometimes they greet me first, good morning, how are you? And if they don't, I'm just like, good morning, how are you? You know, how's the sale going? And we get a little conversation going, and then I get to shopping. It can be awkward, especially if nobody else is there. It might feel a little awkward, but it's okay because it's worth it. The outcome is worth it. So that way, by the end, you already have a nice little thing going with them, and they're gonna be more inclined to work with you, and I'll get to that soon. All right, step number 4. This saves you so much time. Do a quick scan drive-by before you even get out of the car. So sometimes, like I said, if you're going to a garage sale that you think might not have what you're looking for, like if it didn't say clothing online or something, but you still decide to go, if you're only looking for clothing or you're only looking for video games, you're only looking for certain hard goods, do a little drive-by, stop in front of their driveway. It might feel awkward at first, but they're used to it. Tons of people do this. It's like a wide-known garage sale thing. And look, scan the garage. If you see this tiny pile of kids' clothes and you don't sell kids' clothes, probably not worth your time to get out of the car, right? Like, especially if you have a lot of garage sales that are happening that day, maybe not worth your time. If you see 8 women standing there and all their clothes are there and you're looking for women's clothing, that's probably a garage sale you want to spend some time at, right? So then I recommend, okay, find that parking spot, get out of the car, right? Bring your bags for that one. You know, if you see there's gonna be a lot of stuff there, bring your bags, right? So that is a super easy tip. And if you see something that catches your eye, like something that you're like, oh gosh, that looks expensive, I need to get on that first, go there first, because those items, this is especially true if like you're going in the morning and you're an early bird there and you get there and there's people there. Those people are oftentimes, the people that go early are experienced garage sailers, and they know this stuff, and they know that the early bird gets the worm, and if they see something, they're gonna go, they're gonna buy it. So if you see something that is amazing, it catches your eye, go to it, ask how much it is, pay for it right then and there, put it in your car, go back to the garage sale. Because I'm saying this from experience, you might be stashing something and being like, okay, this is my pile. Somebody takes it and buys it without you even knowing. And you're like, dude, what? It happens. Like, people are ruthless and they are rude. So if you see something, your eye catches it, it's eye candy, you're like, I need this in my life yesterday. Go get it. Go for it, girl or boy, whoever you are. Okay. And my last sale, this is the one everybody is afraid of, everybody wants to talk about, everybody doesn't understand, is haggling or negotiating. So different people have different philosophies when they go to garage sales. Some people are like, I don't want to ask for a different price, I just won't buy it if it's too high, right? I do not believe that, because think about it. When you are selling on Poshmark, do you raise your prices to account for offers? Probably, right? You might price something at $30 because you're expecting to send out that 20% off offer, and so that's gonna be $24. So you hiked it up by $6. At garage sales, a lot of people do that too. Higher priced items, if stuff is higher priced, they probably did it on purpose, and it does not hurt anybody to ask for a lower price. The worst thing they're gonna say is no. And then you either buy it or you don't. You're never gonna see these people again. Don't be afraid of them, they're just human beings, and maybe you leave a bad taste in their mouth. Whatever, right? Like, you don't know them. My biggest favorite quote in life is what other people think of me is none of my business. I'll say it again. What other people think of me is none of my business. I wake up and say that to myself every morning. And in the past 5 years, it is amazing how much tension, how much stress has been able to leave my body, because I don't care if somebody thinks I'm yucky, or somebody thinks I'm a bad person, or somebody thinks I'm cheap, or somebody whatever. Because it's not my business, right? Like, that's between them and themselves. You know, all that matters is what I think of me, and maybe what my loved ones think of me, right? Like, that might matter to me a little bit. I want myself to make them happy, right? But in general, especially people you don't know, who cares? Don't let it bother you, right? Even if you're an introvert, I understand. My mom is an introvert, and she's learned to be able to do this and gotten great deals. So don't be afraid to make that offer, and don't be afraid to lowball them. You know, at garage sales, lowballing is usually okay. What's gonna happen is, let's say I find this, these pair of Stuart Weitzman heels, right? This happened to me the other day. Let's say I found this pair of Stuart Weitzman heels, and she priced them at $10. I really don't wanna pay more than $5. I really do not. Because I'm like, I could maybe make like $30 off of these, and $10 is just a lot for me from a garage sale. So, you know, I'm gonna be like, oh, hi, how much is this? And they're gonna say 10. Even if it's priced on there, I still ask. So I say, how much is this? And they say 10, and I say, okay, would you consider maybe taking like 4 or 5? And sometimes they're like, yeah, sure, I'm just happy someone can have it, right? Great. Sometimes they're like, how about 7? Would you do 7? And I'll be like, you know what, okay. Or I'll be like, that's still a little too high for me. And then they might say, sorry, that's the lowest I can do. Or, okay, you know what, it's fine, you can have it. And sometimes they might say, sorry, 10 is the lowest I can do. And in that case, I just say, okay, thank you so much, have a good day, right? Like, no harsh feelings, no bad juju, like it is what it is, right? And the chances are I did get that for $5, right? Like, more likely than not, I, instead of being the person that was afraid to haggle, wanting the item, paying $10, or afraid to haggle, walked away from it, I ended up with those shoes for $5, right? Like, it's a big deal to me to be able to do that. So don't be afraid to lowball. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And I don't always negotiate. If the price is great, I feel no need to do it. The only time I will is if I feel like you overpriced this, like, you know, like you're trying to get Poshmark prices on this, and no, right? But like, a lot of times at garage sale, clothing will be around $1 to $2. More than likely out here, at least in my experience, as soon as I get there, I ask, how much is clothing? And more than likely there's a set price. They'll either be like $1 or $2 for most things. And sometimes they'll be like, it depends on the piece, right? When it depends on the piece, that kind of sucks, because then it's like, okay, so I might get my hopes up, and then they're gonna be like $20 for that dress. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, right? But for the most part, it's a set price. So if clothing is $1 or $2, I'm probably not gonna haggle unless I'm buying like 50 things. And this is something you can do too that people are more likely to do. Bundle discount. You don't have to call it a bundle because they probably don't know what that means. But just like if you're buying a lot and they say, okay, $80 for these, whatever, for these 50 pieces of clothing. And I might be like, would you take 60 for everything? And this is when you'll get them. I have never had anyone say no to that. When I'm buying more than $50 worth of stuff, I will almost always say, would you take da-da-da for everything? And I've never had a single person say no. Because I don't lowball there. That's not where I lowball. That one I'm like, I'm gonna take a reasonable amount off, right? Like, if it was literally like $50 for like 100 items, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let it happen. But if it's more than $1 per item, I will do that. So if it's like, let's say I'm paying $100 for 50 items, I will say, would you take 80 for everything? Never had anyone say no. Always says yes. So if you buy a lot, ask for the discount and just be confident. Like, honestly, confidence is everything when you're garage sailing. Be confident and just be yourself, and don't be afraid for the no. You know, if they say no, then you're like, okay. And you're like, okay, whatever. And you give them the 100, right? Like, or, you know, don't be afraid to walk away. Like, not everything is amazing and needs to come home with you, right? Like, don't be afraid to say, okay, never mind, like, thank you though. Because half the time they're gonna be like, actually, wait, right? Like, come back. Because they're having a garage sale for a reason. They don't want that junk left in their house, right? Like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Chances are, after that garage sale, they're going to donate all that stuff. The chances of them actually wanting to resell that stuff themselves on Poshmark and eBay is so small. So small. So they're probably going to donate it all. So you're probably gonna be able to get that good price. So anyways, that is my 5 tips. And I have one bonus for you if you made it to the end of the video. Controversial topic, unpopular opinion. Don't be afraid to tell them you're a reseller. I said it. Do not be afraid, because it can lead to a lot of open doors for you. So I have multiple instances where I was like afraid to tell them, and then it ended up coming out and they were like, oh my God, I have this stuff in the back, like it's the higher price stuff. I didn't want to really bring it out yet. I was thinking of, bringing it out tomorrow or something on a bigger day. And I was like, oh, I'd love to see it, right? And sometimes I'm going through my head like, oh, if they have it in the back and they think it's a lot, they're gonna price it for a lot, right? No, they just didn't want to bring it out. They didn't want someone to steal it, right? Like, that's happened to me. And then another time, someone found out I was a reseller and they were like, oh my gosh, so my son used to sell on eBay and he stopped, but all of his junk is still in our shed out back. Would you want to maybe like look through there or buy out everything? If you buy everything, we'll give you a really good deal. And guys, he had like Coach purses, Prada purses. He had a pair of Gucci shoes. Like, he had a ton of designer stuff, designer clothing, and I was like, oh my God. I actually didn't end up buying it because at the time I had so much inventory and I wasn't ready to like upfront that stuff, because obviously she's like not $1 for everything, right? She was like 10 to 20 per each item, and I was like, honestly, that's fair for most of this stuff. But it's just like I was too overwhelmed with my own inventory, and at that time I wasn't really, that was like last July, a couple months into reselling, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. But if I had never said I was a reseller, that never would have happened. Like, imagine if I had bought all that stuff, right? Like, I'd be rolling in dough. So if you are afraid that telling them you're a reseller will give you bad juju, tell them after they price. Because a lot of times what happens is they'll be looking at your stuff and a lot of people are gonna be like, what are you doing with all of this? They're like, there's no way this is all for you, right? Like, 'cause you got some kids stuff, you've got some like big shoes, you've got some small shoes. They're like, and I don't really look like a mom. So, more likely than not, I get the like, what are you doing with all this? And I'm like, oh, I'm a reseller. Like, I'm a full-time college student, so it's how I, make a living, and it's super flexible with my schedule. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoy it. And a couple times I have had people be like, oh, right? But like, whatever, I already gave them my money. I'm never gonna see them again. What other people think of me is none of my business, period. And with that, thank you all for coming out today. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you have garage sale questions, please leave them down below. And I might do another Q&A video about garage sales, because I have gotten quite a bit of questions already about garage sales. And that's it, y'all. Let me know if you like this style video and I can put out more. All right, everyone, y'all already know. Stay gold.